Good morning and welcome to our daily earnings season special here on Tuesday, and it's Apple. It's the big one, $1.4 trillion market cap thereabouts. It's reporting its numbers, its fiscal Q1 numbers after the close tonight in the US. These numbers are being closely watched, of course, not just for the Apple in terms of the Apple stock itself, but for the broad market. We know that, for instance, the FANGs, the likes of Apple, Facebook and Netflix and Amazon have contributed around about 31% of the S&P 500's gains over the last year have been down to those stocks. So they're doing all the heavy lifting, and therefore we do think that if there's a miss on some of these big stocks, and it's big weeks for these stocks this week, and Apple is the first to report, if there's a miss, if there's earnings are a bit softer than we thought, if there's problems in China, if they are guiding for weaker sales through the rest of the year, then that will not just weigh on the stock itself, but weigh on the broad market. We do see the stock being quite overextended. That's the daily chart. It's obviously come back down quite sharply over the last two sessions, hitting all-time highs above $323. It's since come back to around $308, $309. Big sell-off following the coronavirus outbreak in China. That's weighing on sentiment broadly. But Apple, as we'll go into in a moment, has very large exposure to China, and therefore it's going to suffer as a result. Looking up at the fiscal Q1 earnings we've got coming up are expected at $4.55. That's up from $4.18 a year ago, and that would be on revenues of $88.4 billion versus $88.3 a year ago. Now, at the time of the Q4 release, Apple was guiding revenues to be between $85 and $89 billion, and that would make it a record-breaking quarter. Momentum coming into the quarter is very positive. Of course, we had record Q4 revenues despite slower iPhone sales, and the company guided for this record holiday quarter. That's the key quarter for Apple, with iPhone sales reflecting not just the holiday sales, but also usually the first of the new upgrade cycle. So these are the first time that we'll see how well the iPhone 11 has done. On a trailing 12-month basis, Apple's price to earnings multiple has jumped rapidly over the last year, from up to 25 from around 11 this time a year ago. The stock has risen by about 100% over that time. So what we've seen, massive multiple expansion happening, and that's what we've seen across the board in the market in the S&P 500. But the question is, can it be sustained? If we look on the weekly chart at Apple stock, you can see massively overextended on MACD, but also RSI. It has come down with a sell-off of the last day. Come down, it was well above 90, and we are trading significantly above long-term moving averages there as well. So on this weekly chart, it does rather look very extended, and so what we need to see is, these earnings need to come through basically, otherwise it could be a fair bit to tumble. Coronavirus will be a theme. Apple gets 16% of its revenues from China, also manufactures the bulk of its products there, so there's a big question mark over just to what extent the lockdown will affect output, to what extent the lockdown and the virus will affect consumption levels in China. Will people be out buying new phones? And going forward, so supply chain problems and so on. Services, key number. We've had very strong numbers, in fact, over the Christmas period for services, so we expect that number to do well again, and we're looking for guidance on Apple Plus TV or Apple TV Plus, as it's just recently launched. We've seen a big success story for Disney with its launch. Netflix is continuing to add many millions of new subscribers too, so we need to see Apple doing well on that front. I think, although materially for earnings, Apple TV might not be the single standout performer like, say, wearables or services or iPhone sales are, but it helps build the ecosystem, and that's good for the whole company. iPhone sales mattering, of course, a lot less. 9% drop in iPhone sales in Q4. That's down. It was about 14. It was better than the rest of the year. iPhone sales were down 14% last year as a whole, but we are looking potentially for a bit of momentum in Q1 because we're dealing with softer numbers from Q1 2019, maybe an improvement in China, and the iPhone 11 upgrade, which we think probably done better than people had thought. Also drawing attention to wearables, that's the fastest growing segment, so we need to see more growth there. And again, we need to see whether or not it's North America that's doing all the heavy lifting, because Q4 it was the Americas that delivered all the growth, with weakness seen across Europe, Asia, China, and so on. So has there been any shift, or is the American consumer still driving force for Apple? So that's it for the moment. Stock trading at $308 or nearly $309 ahead of the open. We could see some movement today off the back of the coronavirus, and earnings being teed up. Seen at earnings per share seen at $4.55. Thanks for watching.